Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are looking at the Bird Ballad suite. The Bird Ballad, you get a lovely stamp set called Free as a Bird, which has some absolutely lovely sentiments in there, and that's what we're going to be using today. It coordinates in a bundle with the stitched nested labels dies, and these are absolutely lovely. They fit the bird in perfectly. So this bird here, the next one up on there, in fact you could just about get it in with that one, but if you move it up and the bird fits in that one. We're using these two today, but you get 8 in the 8 of the dies, and you get another piece on here which is for embossing, so you can get little lines and things of embossing down the side of your paper if you want to, which is rather nice. So this, we are using the let me make sure I've got the sizes on here. So we are using the 1, 2, 3rd and 4th down, so that size and that size. You can vary the sizes if you want, but those are the sizes that we're doing. I can put them back because I've already cut those pieces out to save a little bit of time. And we are going to use the absolutely gorgeous designer series paper, patterned paper. Who doesn't like some absolutely lovely patterned paper? And this just has the most lovely images in there. It's got these beautiful feathers, which is what we're using today, and on the other side it's got bird cages. There are birds galore in there that you can fussy cut out, which is really nice. There's lovely florals, there's little birds in trees, there's beautiful, this is one that we've used the other day. If you watch my channel you'll know I use something with these ones. The paper is absolutely lovely. And although it's birds and birds and birds, I thought that we would use this lovely feathered paper today. And what I've done with it is I have cut out some pieces that I wanted for card bases, but the strip that was over at the edge, because you always end up with a bit of a strip, because these are quite small feathers, I fussy cut some out. So I had a strip that was over on a sheet that I was using, and I've just fussy cut some of the feathers out, and that's what we're going to use today. So let me bring out what we are doing and how I've done it to make the most of our cardstock. So we're going to make 3 cards today. So we need 3 card bases, fairly standard. You take a piece of A4 or whatever your size is if you're international, and you cut it in half and you score it and you fold it in half. That gives your base. Then you are going to take a mat. Now, I have used 3 colours that coordinated with the paper, not maybe perfectly, because I wanted something that was a little softer in them, but I have taken Sahara sand. So I've got a mat cut in the Sahara sand with a 1/4 of an inch border. So again, whether you're international or European, you can cut your mat a 1/4 of an inch smaller than whatever your base is going to be. And then you're going to die cut that piece out. We don't waste anything. All right, so the mat's going to be hidden up, so we're going to cut the this piece out. Then we are going to take another mat, which is again a 1/4 of an inch smaller. So again, use your sizes. And we have cut the next mat, the next shape out of there, because again, we don't want to waste it. So this piece will go in over the top. I've lined it so that it's slightly higher than lower because we're putting a sentiment down there. This piece will go on there. So you basically can do a whole pile of those, and that gives you a really lovely card base. Now I've done this in, as I say, Sahara Sand. I've done it in, I think that's Pool Party. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's Pool Party. It might be Balmy Blue. No, I think it's Pool Party. And I've done this one in So Saffron. So exactly the same method. You cut your base, you cut the next one, you're cutting your pieces out, and you've got those together. So we're now going to put some sentiments on the bottom of each one of these. So let me just take these pieces out because we want this piece, and we are just going to put a sentiment at the bottom of each one. So I'll take these pieces out, then we can do them all at the same time. Put that one there, that one there. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. But once you've done them, you can do all sorts of different cards with them. And as I say, you're not wasting anything. I hate waste. And when I see people just using, you know, a whole piece of cardstock and just putting it straight on there, I think, oh, cut something out of it. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. So let's make sure I've got it the right way round. Let's have a look at these sentiments. We've got some absolutely lovely sentiments in there. So I'm just going to choose some at random. The world needs more of you. I really like that one. So let's put this one. Just need to grab some blocks. Give me a second. I've had a class this morning. So I popped some blocks into my bag and I, as normal, forgot to take them out. So let me just grab a few of the blocks that I had, and I think that they will work for what I want, and I need to get a little bit of glue. So let's take this one, which is the world needs more of you. So let me just put that in and line that up on there. That looks good. And then I'm going to do it in black ink. You could coordinate it and do it in the same colour as the cardstock, but I want this to show quite a lot. So I'm going to put this one down in right or left. I think I'm going to put this one here. I always offset them because I don't like things that are completely centred. That's just my preference. So that's the world needs more of you. And let me just grab my Simply chamois so I can just clean these up as we go. The second one is, what are we going to do for the second one? Let's have a nice long thin one. This is We're the Best of Friends, which again I think is lovely. I send quite a lot of cards to friends. I could put this on a slightly different block, but as I've got this one out, I should just put it on this one. It's a little bit big, but you know, our blocks are fairly flexible to do with what we want. So we'll put that one on there. And then that is going to go on to the bottom of this one. So are we going to have that? I think I'm going to have that this way. So they'll all be slightly different. We're the Best of Friends. So that's the second one. And then the last one is, there's so many to choose from. Thanks for being you. I think that's nice because you could put, again, whatever you wanted on there. So is that thanks for being you? I think it is. If it's something else, then it's something else. It's quite difficult sometimes to see upside down. You can put the labels on. I'm old school. I've always just put them on as they are, so I don't tend to put the labels on. It does mean that you have to be a bit careful with your lining up, but normally I'm pretty good, so we just have to... We each have our own way of doing things, and as I say, with stamping, there's no right or there's no wrong. Am I going to have one in the centre? Oh, I don't like centres. I'm just going to have it off this side, I think, just like that. So thanks for being you. So we've got a nice little sentiment down on the bottom of each one. And then we can start putting some of this together. And let's pop that one in there. So we've got that out of the way. So that's all we're using. We're just using sentiments today. As I always say, when I buy a new stamp set, I like to use it to its absolute maximum. So I like to make sure that I'm using every single stamp as often as I can, because I like to get my money's worth. I'm always somebody who, you know, crafting is my passion. I love it. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I find it incredibly relaxing. I love talking to you guys. So that, you know, all of those things are things that I really enjoy doing. So it's something that I always, as I say, make sure that I don't waste anything. I've just, oh yes, just a little bit. I'm getting very low on my Tombow, and waiting for new stocks to come in. It's one of our most popular glues, and we're waiting for new stocks to come in, so I'm trying to be as frugal as I can with it. So okay, so we're going to just line this up and put these all on. In fact, no, I'll do each one separately. So let's have that lined up on there, and then we need our doesn't really matter what sentiment we're going to put on there, so we can line that one up next. And as I say, always make sure that you cut into, if it's not going to show, use it for something. If you haven't got dies and you're just starting off, you can actually just cut some rectangles, which would work really well with this as well. If you have got a die cutting machine and you want to use that, then that's absolutely fine as well. Then we have our yellow, so that then goes on top of there. And as I say, because we're doing layers, you don't have to. Oof, I'm really struggling with the last bit of glue, but I'm determined as always. I use every little scrap, so this bit is going to go on top like that. Put that in the centre like that, and then this last piece goes on top like that. Now, as I say, you can do, as I've always said, you can do things with dimensionals if you want added layers. I tend to not do too many. I think with this you have enough layers without putting it up with dimensionals as well, but again, entirely up to you. If you like lots of layers, you can do that. So that's our So Saffron one. Let's do the next one, which is going to be the Sahara Sand. As I say, I really love the fact that all our designer series paper is, if you're in a bold mood, you can do bolds. If you're in a pastel-y mood, you can do pastels. It's entirely up to you. We have such a wide range of cardstock, and all the inks and everything else coordinate together, so it's absolutely lovely, and you can use them for full bases if you want to. I just tend to now, what words are we going to use on this one? Let's have the world needs more of you. So and it's the sort of thing as well, you can prepare all of this in advance, so you can make up a few of these and then just decorate them as you want when you're ready to do it. I tend to just sort of do things a bit off the hoof when I'm just ready to do them, but I do like doing a few cards at a time because it saves quite a bit of time. And as I say, if you cut a few of these out beforehand, you can then use them for whenever you want. So but I wanted to show you how relatively quickly it is to do 3 cards, and they're ready to send. So we had an absolutely lovely weekend here in the UK, in the south of England. The weather was just, Saturday was so hot in my garden. I had to sit out with a sun umbrella up because it was too hot to sit out, which is really lovely. I think it's nice, but we've got rain today, which again is lovely because the garden, nature has a really good way of taking care of itself. You know, we have nice warm weather, and then we'll have a few days of rain, and it means that the gardens don't get too dry. I hate it when my garden gets really dry, because I have rainwater butts out, but even so, sometimes it gets so dry, and I'm afraid again, I'm old school, so I tend to, I don't like wasting water, so I don't turn hoses and things on unless I absolutely have to. Right, this is the last one. What's this one? We're the Best of Friends. So we've got 3 completely different styles of card, and then they're going to be finished off. Ooh, a little bit of glue. They're going to be finished off all slightly differently as well. You can probably, I don't know how many different styles you could manage. I've done 3, but I'm sure you could probably do a few more as well. I just thought of 3 different ways that they're similar, but they're not the same. So, and as I say, you've got 3 different sentiments on there. So let's just finish those pieces off, and then we've got all of those pieces together. Ooh. There we are, nearly finished. So pop this one on here. And as I say, we haven't wasted anything at all. We've used everything from the inside of the our mat to do our frames. Oh, yes, just a little bit more. And then that can go on there. So sure that that's relatively straight. There we go. Okay, so we now have 3 lovely bases in the 3 different colours, all nice and sort of pastel, but I quite like that. Now we go on to these lovely little feathers that I've cut out, and what we're going to do is I'm going to put the feathers in on each one of the cards in just a slightly different way. So this has got some of the Sahara sand in, so I think I'll have that one there. I might just cut the little base off a little bit. We'll have the little bit of green in there, and we'll have okay, we wanted 2 downs, and no, we want that's a down. So we're going to have 2 ups and a down, if that makes sense. So the 2 outside feathers are going to face up, and the middle feather is going to face down. The blue one, we're going to have 3 feathers like this, because these have got little curves on them, and I thought they'd look quite nice to curve either side. And then this one has got just a little pop of colour in here. It's got petal pink, and I think probably a bit of calypso coral or something. This has got the yellow, which is why I chose the So Saffron, because I didn't want it too bright. And this one is going to be up at the top, and then we'll have 2 downs like that. Okay, so now I've got them in position. So what I'm going to do is literally just, you could put them up with dimensionals. I don't want to put them up with dimensionals. I want them to be fairly flat, because I don't want too much on there. So balancing of those 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one in first, because this is the one that's going to go directly down. So to just get it balanced, we're just going to put bit of glue down on here. This is why I like wet glue, because as I say, it works really well, and you have just that little bit of wiggle room. So that's going to go from the bottom just up like that down to the center. Now I'm not pressing the top down, just in case I need to tuck one under and tuck one over or something like that. I haven't decided. So if you don't glue the top bit of it, then it does give you just a little moment to be able to tuck things in or out as you want. So yes, that one I want to be just tucked in underneath like that. So I'm going to put that one in that way. And then this one is going to go on the other side. But as I say, this is using a tiny little piece of the patterned paper, the Bird Ballad. And it really is something which you can have as a scrap piece over, you know, the little piece down the side, because these are really quite small and they will work out quite nicely. So let's just put that down like that and see if we've got it. Maybe that needs to come down just a little bit more, doesn't it? So let's take that one down on that side. So that balances on there like that. Then I can take this little piece that I'd tucked in and just pop that in at the top. Okay, now what I would probably do is, and in fact I might do that, is to put just a little gem or something on there, but I'm not too sure. I actually like it to be quite, you know, sometimes we make cards and they are so fussy. I'm somebody who likes, you know, lots of bling and things like that, but sometimes, particularly if you're sending to certain people, if you're sending to a man, you know, and don't get me wrong, some men absolutely love loads of bling and stuff like that, but I have two sons, and now I'm making sure that I've got this the right way around. Yes, that's the down in the middle. I have two sons, and they're really sort of, you know, pints and you know, football and rugby and things like that, and they love the cards that I make for them, but I do tend to keep them fairly plain. I've got other friends who absolutely love as much bling as I can put on them, so it's nice to have. Oh, I was going to just take the tail off of that, wasn't I? Because I think it's just a little tiny bit too long, so I'm just going to just round it a little bit and put that down. That's better, because I didn't want it to be too much. That's the nice thing, once you've fussy cut it out, you can make it fit absolutely exactly where you want it. And then let's take the last one on this. I really like the way these are turning out. I think they're really beautiful. You could make half a dozen of them and put them in a little box and give them as a gift, because they really are quite pretty. And as I say, using your wet glue, it means that you can wiggle them about a bit so you get them as balanced as you want. So that's the second one, and we'll just put the last one in on here. I love all the different colours as well, because the fact that you can that one needs to have its bottom chopped off a bit. The fact that you can coordinate things through, because as I say, our designer series paper, or our patterned paper, works really well, and coordinates beautifully with things, so that, you know, sometimes you just need a little bit of something, and it just makes the whole thing pop. And I just thought that this idea was, now this is going to be upwards, so we've got an up in the middle on here. So again, you know, play around with the feathers and put them whichever way you want. It's one of those things, it's quite nice to turn around and go and have like, oh, I'm going to have some upwards, I'm going to have some downwards, I'm going to have some this way, and just work them out. And I've just done threes. You could do fives. You know, you could have a whole strip of them across. The ideas are endless. And I got this from, there was a lovely stamp set that we used to do a few years ago, and it had feathers on it, and I absolutely loved it. It was a stamp set where you could colour in the feathers, and I used it a lot. So so as soon as I saw the paper on this, I was like, oh, that will work beautifully. So let's do that so that it's just about lined up like that. And there we are. So we've now got the three of them like that. Now, you could, I would leave those two exactly as they are because I think that they look absolutely perfectly. This one, because there's a little bit of a space in here, you could put a little bit of twine, a little bit of gold thread or something at the top that would just maybe just add something in there. You could put one of our pearls. You could put a tiny little bit of ribbon. I've always have a little piece of ribbon on there. I mean, that's way too big, but you see what I mean. You could just put a little tiny piece in here. I will probably put a little piece of gold thread because I think that will just pick it up and just add a little bit of something, but I'm not going to do that now. I just wanted to come on to show you how to make 3 absolutely beautiful, let's take this out of the way, then you can see it on the base, but 3 absolutely beautiful cards that are in totally different colours but sort of tone in very well together. And as I say, do a little box of them, but all we've used is a tiny little strip and just fussy cut a few feathers out. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll have a try. Thanks so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.